What is up, guys? We're back with another video, and today we're going to be telling you about the RTX 4080 Super, and not just any RTX 4080 Super, but this one right here, which is ASUS's ROG Strix RTX 4080 Super OC Edition. So let's go ahead and take a look. When it comes to the RTX 40 Super series, this is going to be the refresh of the original RTX 40 series. So, you're not going to get any new architecture. You're not going to get insane performance over the previous generation or anything like that. What you should expect is maybe some more cores, a little bit better performance, and better power efficiency. So for the RTX 4080 Super, it is going to be based on the same AD103 silicon as the original RTX 4080, but now you have 80 compute units available, giving you a total of 10,240 CUDA cores, 320 Tensor cores, 80 RT cores, 304 TMUs, and 112 ROPs. You will be getting the same 16 gigabytes of GDDR6X across a 256-bit memory bus, but it will be faster 23 gigabits per second memory. Of course, the card that we're taking a look at today is ASUS's ROG Strix RTX 4080 Super OC. This will be their flagship card, and it's going to come with a factory overclock of 2,640 megahertz for the boost clock, and there's even an OC mode that you can enable that will bring that up to 2,670 megahertz. When the RTX 40 series first came out, ASUS completely redesigned their ROG Strix card. I would say by now it's probably one of the most recognizable cards out there. When you see a system with an ROG Strix card, you know it's an ROG Strix card. This is their flagship RTX 4080 Super, and it's going to be one of their largest cards out there. So I'll go ahead and put the official dimensions up on the screen here. Of course, the thing that you really want to pay attention to is the actual length of the card. This is a long card, so that's something you definitely want to keep in mind. As we take a first look at the card here, the thing that really stood out to me, especially when I first picked it up, was how heavy the card was. That is because instead of a plastic shroud, we actually have a die-cast metal shroud. This is the first graphics card that I've ever reviewed that actually has a all-metal design, which is really awesome. Now, embedded on the front of the actual cooler is a blue and red ROG logo. It looks awesome. This is just a card that really stands out. Of course, taking up most of the space on the top of the card are your fans, which are 110 millimeter fans. These are ASUS's Axial Tech fans, which feature dual ball bearings and a design where the blades actually connect to an outer frame that spins with the fan. The center fan will actually spin in the opposite direction of the two outer fans. This gives you 23% more airflow over the previous design. Now, the fans will of course turn off when the card is in an idle state. Under the fans is a very large heatsink that makes use of a vapor chamber base and 7 heat pipes to easily dissipate heat away from the GPU. On the main side of the card, you'll find a large GeForce RTX logo as well as a Republic of Gamers logo. That ROG logo will light up with RGB lighting, which we'll show you in just a bit. Towards the center of the card, you'll find your power connection, which is a single 12VH PWR power connection. The card features a high-speed circuit that constantly monitors input power from your power supply, and there are LEDs by the power connector to indicate voltage regulation issues as well as cable connection problems. Moving over to the back of the card, of course, we have a full cover metal backplate. It has a large ROG logo in the center, and then at the end of the card, it has a different ROG logo. The end of the card is ventilated to help with cooling. You can also see a small dual BIOS switch that allows you to toggle between a performance mode and quiet mode for your fan profiles. The end of the card has a sort of end cap on it, which is actually nice to see, as many new cases have see-through glass on the front, and this part of the card is going to be visible. Here you'll find 2 4-pin fan headers where you can actually connect 2 of your case fans to the card, and they're going to be tuned with the fan curve of the card. This will definitely help out with cooling, as most motherboard fan curves are actually just based on the CPU temperature. Moving to our display connections, we have 3 DisplayPort 1.4 and 2 HDMI 2.1. As you can see, the card is slotted as a 2-slot card, but the actual height of the card is 3.5 slots, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. When it comes to RGB lighting on the card, the Republic of Gamers logo on the side will light up, and then there's lighting all around the end cap of the card. The end cap lighting is actually quite good, especially if you have a case that has a tempered glass front panel. It's almost like ASUS designed this part of the card for people that have those type of cases. The end cap lighting is more or less a hallmark of ASUS's ROG Strix RTX 40 series cards. We're going to be running this card through our entire benchmark suite, which is not only made up of synthetic benchmarks, but also in-game benchmarks. So here's a full breakdown of our test system. As we come to the end here, I think NVIDIA has done a pretty good job here with the RTX 4080 Super and these sort of super refreshes. Like I said, you're not going to get crazy new performance or anything like that, but we are getting more cores and higher clock speeds, which does lead to a little bit better performance. In our testing, this card is anywhere from 3 to 5% faster than the original RTX 4080. And you have to remember that this card and the original are not meant to compete with each other. This is meant to be a complete replacement. So it's something you definitely want to keep in mind. When it comes to comparing this card to other cards that are out there, I do have all of our stats here. Unfortunately, we don't have any of the other new super cards, and we don't have any of the other, high-end AMD cards. But what I can tell you is that this card is about 16% faster in gaming compared to the RTX 4070 Ti at 1440p, and about 22% faster at 4K. Now, if we compare this to the RTX 4090, it's about 12% slower in gaming at 1440p and about 25% slower at 4K. With that type of performance, this is going to be a great card for 4K as well as 1440p gaming. At 4K, you're going to see well over 60 FPS in pretty much any title that's out there with the settings turned all the way up. At 1440p, you're going to be going over 100 FPS, even able to push something like a 144 Hertz monitor. Of course, we can't forget about those NVIDIA specific features either, real-time ray tracing and DLSS 3.0. Ray tracing, I think at this performance level, you can turn it on if you want to mess with it, and you're not going to get as much of a performance hit, you know, compared to mid-range or lower range cards. And then DLSS 3.0 is excellent, especially if you want to get more FPS out of a certain title. It's great that you can turn that on. And again, a lot of titles are now supporting that. A lot of titles are supporting RTX. Pretty much NVIDIA has done a great job working with publishers, getting those technologies into the brand new games. Now, wrapping things up with ASUS's ROG Strix card. I've seen these cards before since, you know, they were launched with the original RTX 40 series. I've seen them in builds. I've never had the chance to get my hands on one. And now that I finally have one, I can see what the hype is all about. This is probably the best built graphics card that I've ever had the chance to review. It's just that good. One, we have that all metal design, so awesome quality throughout. The great large cooling solution, 3 cooling fans, but the great part about it, even though we have 3 fans, this is an incredibly quiet card, which I definitely like. We have that great RGB lighting that looks amazing, especially if you have a, you know, front tempered glass panel in your system. And this end cap really lets everybody know that you are rocking an ROG Strix card. This card, of course, is factory overclocked as well, so you're gonna get a little bit better performance out of it. It is just an excellent card overall. Now, NVIDIA has dropped the price because the original RTX 4080 was launched at $1,200, and this card is going to be $1,000. Now, the ASUS card will have a $250 premium on it, so it's going to be $1,250, but I think for everything that you are getting in this card, and I don't say this often when it comes to aftermarket cards, I do think you are getting what you pay for with this card in terms of quality, performance, and just the whole overall package. Now, if you guys have any questions about this card or the RTX 4080 Super in general, go ahead and leave it below in the comments. I will have links below where you can go ahead and pick this up, as well as our full written review over at ThinkComputers.org. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the next video.